The storm had passed by morning, leaving the village of Eldoria drenched but peaceful. The air was fresh, carrying the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers as X and Haku prepared to leave. The village had been their home for all 18 years of their lives, but they both knew this journey was something they had been preparing for since the day they were born. They packed light, just enough food to last a few days, the ancient book of spells, and their weapons. X's elemental pistol hung at his side, its weight a familiar comfort. Haku strapped his magic katana to his back, the blade humming faintly as if sensing the adventure that lay ahead. As they made their way out of the village, the villagers gathered to see them off. Some offered words of encouragement, others whispered prayers for their safety. The village elder, a wise woman who had known the brothers since they were born, approached them. "Remember, the path you walk is not just your own," she said, her voice deep with the weight of her years. "You carry the hopes of Eldoria with you. Trust in your bond, and let it guide you." X and Haku nodded in unison, the gravity of her words sinking in. They were no longer just two brothers. They were the guardians of a prophecy that could shape the fate of their entire world. The Enchanted Forest lay just beyond the village, its towering trees stretching high into the sky, their leaves shimmering with a magical glow. It was a place of wonder and danger, filled with creatures both benign and malevolent. The forest was said to be alive, its magic pulsing through every root and branch, and it was in this forest that the brothers would begin their quest. As they entered the forest, the light dimmed, the canopy overhead thick with leaves that blocked out the sun. The air was cool, tinged with a sense of mystery. The path before them twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the heart of the forest. "We should stay alert," X said, his voice low as he scanned the surroundings. "The forest is known to play tricks on travelers." Haku nodded, his hand resting on the hilt of his katana. "I've heard stories of people wandering in circles for days, or worse, encountering creatures that shouldn't exist." The brothers moved cautiously, their senses heightened. The forest was eerily quiet save for the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant cry of a bird. It felt as though the trees themselves were watching them, their gnarled branches reaching out like fingers. After hours of walking, the path led them to a clearing. In the center stood an ancient oak tree, its trunk massive and twisted, its roots burrowing deep into the earth. At its base sat a figure cloaked in dark robes, their face hidden beneath a hood. X and Haku exchanged a glance before stepping forward. As they approached, the figure lifted their head, revealing a woman's face, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "I've been expecting you," she said, her voice soft but powerful. "Who are you?" X asked, his hand hovering near his pistol. "I am Celine, the guardian of the Enchanted Forest," she replied. "I protect the ancient magic that flows through these woods. And I know why you are here." Haku's eyes narrowed. "You know about the eternal flame?" Celine nodded. "I do, but the path to the flame is fraught with danger. Only those who prove themselves worthy may continue." "What must we do?" X asked. Celine rose from her place beneath the tree, her robes flowing like water around her. "The forest will test you," she said. "You must face its challenges, both physical and magical. If you succeed, the way forward will be revealed. If you fail, you will not leave this forest." The weight of her words hung heavy in the air. X and Haku knew they had no choice but to accept the challenge. The prophecy had brought them here, and they could not turn back now. "We're ready," Haku said, his voice steady. Celine smiled, though there was a sadness in her eyes. "Very well. The first trial begins now." The ground beneath their feet trembled, and the forest around them began to change. The trees shifted, their branches curling and twisting into new shapes. The path they had walked was gone, replaced by a maze of roots and vines. "Stay close," X said, his voice tense as he drew his pistol. "We'll get through this together." Haku nodded, his katana at the ready. "Always." The brothers stepped forward into the maze, their senses on high alert. The forest was no longer just a place. It was a living entity, intent on testing their every move. The first trial had begun, and the Enchanted Forest would reveal no mercy.